Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of the 122nd Football Podcast. So, for this episode, I have Soccer Dave, who is an ex pro and now training and skill content creator who played pro in Bolivia, Argentina, and Spain. So, Soccer Dave, my question for you is what was the biggest setback you had to face when playing abroad in foreign countries?
Thanks, SK. Thanks for having me on. I think the biggest setback, which you can view it as a setback or just an opportunity, is every time you show up somewhere new where nobody knows you. I think, one thing is being able to produce, being able to show, being able to be confident, play your game when you're in an environment where people know you and where you have people alongside you that believe in you. Another thing is being able to do it where no one knows you. You just got there. If there is a language barrier, that's something you have to overcome. And then where you're going to bed, sleep alone, maybe no roommates, no phone calls, of people that believe in you. And can you thrive in that environment? I've always been, somebody that loves the pressure, lives for the pressure. But even still, it's a day-to-day task, coach doesn't know you haven't been there, right? It's not like the youth system where you grow up in a club, or this and that around the US. There comes a time where you're on to the next thing and you show up somewhere where no one has any idea. And, maybe you have a good trial and you're there, but then it's still square one. And then, maybe you finally get a chance to play. Well, that's square one because it's first minutes. And then just recognizing every next step. Here we go again. And you either rise to the occasion or you don't, and it creates a whole new battle, right? So, but that's what I would say is, being able to fulfill for yourself, every time you step on the field, because when you're in an environment where nobody knows you, no one there believes in you, can you still do it?
That's a good point. Very good answer. One other thing I have, another question is what would be the biggest tip you have for players that are going abroad for the first time to play in teams?
Keep it simple. Soccer is very simple. You can I told somebody the other day that I was training, I said, once you figure out the parameters and you're in that box, get as crazy as you want within that box. Show everything you can do within that box. But you have to play the game in such a way where people can tell you respect a high level game. Once you show that you have a high IQ, go for it, man. Pick little spots, little moments where you can show out, whether it's a strong tackle, winning a ball in the air, taking somebody on 1v1, doing a quick 1-2 through the middle, breaking lines. That shows a high quality player that is also willing to try to stand out, showing a little bit of confidence. Like I know you've talked about, in different episodes and stuff. How can you show little spurts of greatness, little spurts of, I know what I'm doing, while also keeping it simple, keeping it real, and showing that you just love the game, respect the game at a high level, can keep it simple, but I can also make a difference.
Okay, so it's basically like a mix of keeping it simple, but also taking risks here and there.
Right. Take risks within the simplicity of the game, right?
Okay.
Don't try to play a different game, right? If you're playing high level soccer, where a high IQ is required, I mean, even if you look at, this is a terrible example for players just starting out. I always say we shouldn't compare ourselves we should strive to be the best, but wherever we are, we should compare ourselves to how the best played when they were in our situation, right? And because that's where they came from, where they got. So, but let's just take, for example, Neymar. Neymar does all these different skills, or Ronaldinho before him, right? But they did it within the parameters of what the game called. Like, where are you? Are you on the sideline? Are you on the midfield? So you have to show that there's a high quality IQ within your style of play. And from there, stem the stuff that you can do, right? Are you doing it in a position where if you lose the ball, there's a big counter? Are you doing it from a position where you can whip in a cross, where you can get a PK, where you can, take time off the clock if there's a foul? Are you finding a shot? Are you breaking lines, or are you just, there's got to be a purpose to the creativity. There's got to be a purpose to that play that sets you apart, right? When you go in for a hard tackle, are you going to end up getting a yellow or a red? Well, that's, I showed I'm strong. No, you showed you're kind of dumb. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you have to have a high level
Yeah.
IQ and stem from there. So I would
Yeah.
always say, make sure you have the IQ part, down. You have to understand the game. That's the first thing, especially abroad. That's the first thing they catch on. Do you know the game?
For sure.
If you know the game, okay, now let's see what you can do.
All right, great answer again. So yeah, that's it for the third episode. Thank you for being on my podcast. Where can they connect with you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on all social platforms. My handle is always the same, Soccer Dave. Just spell soccer with 3 C's, Soccer Dave.
All right. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week with the next episode.